Recently, there was a football match in London between an English team, Arsenal, and a German team, Cologne, that caused a lot of consternation in the media. 20,000 Cologne fans travelled all the way from Germany for the game, and there was a lot of chaos and disorder on the streets and some fighting inside the stadium. As I watched these thousands of young white German men screaming for their team, I couldn't help but notice where they were from: Cologne. Cologne is the city that will be forever etched into my mind as the place where, on New Year's Eve 2015, around 1,200 defenceless white German women were sexually assaulted by Muslim immigrant gangs. So, as I saw this army of young German men defiantly marching through London like a conquering army, I couldn't help but wonder where they had been on that fateful night while their women were being savaged in their own city. The modern phenomenon of watching sports has bothered me for a while. It bothers me because most days of the week you can see huge crowds of young white men, their faces contorted with rage over a poor refereeing decision or a wayward shot on goal. But where is their rage at how their countries are being destroyed by their politicians? Where is their rage at the invading hordes of third world immigrants living off their tax money? Where is their rage at the sexual violation of their wives, girlfriends, daughters, and mothers? I guess these men save up all their rage for match day. It was the Roman poet Juvenal who first coined the phrase bread and circuses to describe the frivolous preoccupations of a previously heroic but now lost populace. Of the people of Rome, Juvenal said, and I quote, "Already long ago, from when we sold our vote to no man, the people have abdicated our duties. For the people who once upon a time handed out military command, high civil office, legions, everything now restrains itself and anxiously hopes for just two things: bread and circuses." Unquote. The bread and circuses were the free wheat and public entertainment the politicians used to gain the favour of the masses. I see today's popular culture of football, TV and drinking as much the same thing, i.e. ways of diverting attention from the real issues and maintaining the power of those overseeing the decline. As in Rome, the men of modern Europe have become infantilized by a system that glorifies trivialities. These men have become so feeble-minded that all they can think about, all they can muster any passion for, is watching a bunch of foreign millionaires kicking a ball around while their heritage, traditions and very way of life are stripped away from them. They are like infants that have been put into a playpen. They are out of harm's way there. These man-babies can do no harm to the globalist social order, while their masculine energy is being channeled into the black hole of mindless entertainment. They are impotent against their demographic destruction. It's time white men shook off this false conception of masculinity and took back control of their nations. But this football match also made me think about how easy it is to make white people fight with each other over these meaningless things, such as which football team you support. It's time to grow up and recognise that modern culture is playing us for fools. Identities that derive from sport, culture, and even nation are leading us towards extinction. The world wars of the 20th century were the greatest imaginable tragedies for the white race. And look at the state of Europe now, despite all that bloodshed. It's my considered opinion that white people of all nations lost the Second World War. National identities are perfectly valid things, but when they are held above the much stronger and significant identity of race, they can result in the most awful consequences, as we have seen. I recently received two very different comments from viewers of my channel. The contrast between them intrigued me, and I think there's a lesson here for us as a movement. The first comment was in response to my video, ironically about the prospect of civil war in the United States, and it went thus. Hold up, Is this guy American? He sounds Briton. He speaks for us. WTF is going on around here? Little girls are being raped all over the UK. Maybe he should kick that subject around. We can handle this ourselves." Unquote. Now, I was surprised and saddened to read this comment. Of course, it's possible that this was just a troll, but even if it was a troll, he was pushing the same sort of divisiveness to which I have seen our movement fall prey many times. He couldn't seem to grasp that I, as a Brit, could possibly share a concern for the well-being of my white brothers and sisters in the US. That I could possibly even have a personal stake in the stability and success of the US, which is the linchpin of the Western world. What a small and sad understanding of Western civilization and the common bond of the nations that created it. Ironically, in my videos I have frequently mentioned events occurring in various parts of the West, including the Muslim paedophile gangs of the UK. But he offered no real critique of my work, just my nationality. I am a Western man. I live in the West. I experience daily the indignities that we white Europeans are subjected to in our own lands. I see the international nature of the globalist push to destroy Western civilization through mass third world immigration. We nationalists must also adopt an internationalist approach in our response. We are all going through this. We need each other. The second comment I want to mention was from a man, also from the US, who had been watching my work for a while and who had become confused and desperate. His comment read, "I watch your videos and I'm so disgusted and scared for my children. I come from a long line of combat vets whom have served this country, including me, who served during the invasion of Iraq in a scout platoon. These liberal people make me sick. Almost makes me glad my grandfather isn't here to see commies running free, beating up good Americans. How do I get involved? My first reaction is violence, but I know that there is a better way, maybe. Please give me guidance because I'm pissed off and I can't believe this is even a threat I have to deal with, considering the other major threats that face our country from abroad." Unquote. First, I want to say that it's an honour that this man should have sought my counsel, and that his message was used in this video with his permission. I don't consider myself an expert, but I do what I can to be knowledgeable and aware, and to spread this information as best I can for the good of our people, wherever they may live. This man, unlike the first, wasn't interested in my nationality. All he was interested in was the cause, the identity that we share. In response, I suggested to him that his love of country was not shared by many of those that had sent him into Iraq. I told him that I knew that he already understood that violence is not the way forward, that our way must be to elevate our people's consciousness, to win their hearts and minds. I advised him to constantly improve his learning and to always be a rational witness for our people and the truth, to seek the company of like-minded people for strength and happiness, to write to me again if he ever needed anything, that I considered him a friend and brother even though we had had only this brief exchange. The various nations of the West represent important and valid cultural identities, but they do not come close to the much greater imperative of saving our race and Western way of life. Culturally, I may be English, but my racial loyalty makes me also a Scotsman, Welshman, Frenchman, German, Spaniard, Swede, Italian, Pole, Russian, and American. Wherever white people are, that's where I'm from. An international movement of nationalists is what we are. A coalition of nations, but one people. These lessons are part of our maturation as a movement, and there will be many more such lessons. White identitarianism must be an international movement because we share not only blood, but the struggle for our very survival. Unite or die, my friends. Until next time, be well.